Hey everyone, welcome back to the October series where I'm taking What's Up on YouTube questions. Today is series 20. The series is almost over. We have a couple more days left. So the question that we have today, and again, Phil at OCDrecovery.com if you want to know how to come to our WhatsApp groups or get into the WhatsApp groups, etc. Always thank Phil. He does a lot of work behind the scenes. Okay, let's jump right into it. Hi Nick, happy Saturday. Oh, you're nice. Not sure if you're still accepting questions for your series. I am. But these two questions come to mind. Can you speak about how to have more self-compassion? I struggle with what seems to me like impulsivity in terms of spending, not being able to save and eating junk food. Can you talk about how to work on this? So I see what you did, but I'll split this in a couple different things. So I was really bad at compassion with all sense. I had no compassion for other people when they made mistakes, which then blinded me to act like I was a perfect human, and I never made mistakes myself. We all have to go through different areas of this. It's really easy to do this when you get better from something, say an addiction, and you're years and years away from the addiction. When people first come in to work on that addiction, they can seem very whiny and complaining, but you have to remember where you were and you were in their shoes. So that's why it's important to remind yourself. A lot of people believe they're going to change their belief systems and they're never going to have to think about their belief systems from time to time ever again. But that's not true because there's an Ellis book called REBT. It worked for me. It can work for you too. It's an autobiography he wrote when he was 89, 90. So in like 2003, when his health problems were really bad. And he was talking about a problem that he had with his anger. And he said the REBTer had to get REBT, which I'll never forget that. I think that's such a great way to look at someone who invented this. So I started by working on compassion for other people. Small things, the road, then the big topics that people have no compassion for. Politics, money, religion, military, money spending, how they live their lives, all the way to how people just do something like leaving a plate on a machine at the gym. Like I felt that this morning. There was a couple next to me. They literally got off the rowing machine and they left 245s on each side. It's very easy to want to tap those people on the shoulder and say, hey, you're really lazy and go and move your damn plates. But I don't want to do that anymore. I didn't want to act like that. So I had to work on compassion for other people. And I know what you're thinking. That's not my question. Practicing compassion for other people can help in many ways. Practice compassion for yourself. So I started with other people. Then what happened was, for myself, I had to look at the realities of life. I had to look at my propensity, more than likely genetically, economically, how I was raised, culturally, how my father was, how there's other people in my family with severe ADHD, that my impulsive actions were more than likely going to be difficult to tame for a while. And I might not ever get them under control. So if I overspent a little bit, I had to look at that there's no rules in life. Now, you hear people say stuff, which there's truth in this, but it's too superficial in certain ways. Well, you just die one day, so just go out there and have fun. Well, whilst you're in the conscious state, you still have repercussions to your actions. So that's not necessarily true. You can go out there and spend all your money and do whatever you want, but you'll have some sort of cons with that behavior. But we could still enjoy our lives more so than other people. But what worked for me well in this, I do this today when it comes to eating at restaurants with imbalance or smoking cigars. I had to stop having caffeine. I had to stop putting rules on things and handle things on a moment-to-moment basis. That helped a lot with my compassion. So take today for an example. It's 10:30 in the morning. I already had my pre-workout and 2 coffees. Before, I would say to myself, you can't do that. That's not good. That's not good for you. You have to be better about this. Or I have Costco cookies in my house and muffins at all times. I usually have 1 cookie a day, but sometimes I want to have a second cookie with dinner. And I tried to make that happen multiple days in a row. So you do have to wear urges, right? It does come down to wearing urges. But it also is, I'm a human and I'm going to slip up at times. I probably don't need to have as rigid rules. By the way, I did this with everything. Changing my workout programs, as you and I have talked about, the person who understands knows this. So you only can lift this exercise in the 3 to 5 rep range. Why? Why? Sure, we can have goals, but why do we have to be so rigid about it? Exercise I'll use the word like quote unquote supposed to be. Nothing's supposed to be any certain way per se, but healthy in a healthy supposed to be way, spontaneous in many ways and fun. But we've taken it so far to the extreme where I got to do the first couple exercises are 8 to 12 and then 12 to 15 and then 15 to 20. And then we just drive ourselves nuts. And then we have tripods in the gym. We're not enjoying ourselves anymore. So I had to drop a lot of these imaginary rules and just, if I went overboard at times, hey, look, let's try to get back on track. It's not the end of the world. When I had these big rules, like you should not eat junk food or you can't be spending like this, all I would think about, right, the pink elephant. If you don't think about pink elephants, what are you going to think about? So that's how I worked on this. Also, when I would read the book, The Myth of Self-Esteem, which I've read quite a few times over the years, I had to realize that I am a human and I am going to be susceptible to low frustration tolerance at times, more than likely, regardless of how good my habits and my wearing my urges are. Take adult websites. I haven't watched adult websites coming up here in 10 weeks, will be 3 years, which is wild. Do I get urges to watch them at times? Yeah, they're low, but like I have to be aware of my urges. Could I slip up in a catastrophic thing? Like maybe Erica gets into a really big motor vehicle collision and she might not make it through the night and I'm spiraling into a deep, dark place and I'm just in my bed one night and I say, fuck this. And I pull the adult websites. It could happen. I don't want that to happen, but it could. Some days I go a little bit overboard with caffeine. It's not abnormal for me to have a pre-workout and then 5 cups of coffee. I'm not saying it's healthier than that. It just doesn't bother me like most people. Doesn't give me the jitters or anything like that, right? Because I'm addicted. I have an addiction to that. It is a drug. Caffeine is a drug. But I can cut it at certain days. Like I just told myself after that coffee, I poured myself a water. I said, just leave it at that. Especially when I have like certain pre-workouts, like the pre-workout I have today has like 5 standard cups of coffee in it, right? 7 times 5 is 35, yeah. So 333 milligrams of caffeine. So 7 standard caffeine sources today already by 10:30. Not what I usually do, but I'm not going to beat myself up about it. I'm not going to worry about it in a sense. And not when you have health OCD, you can't be like, I'm not going to worry about this. I'm just have the acceptance that it affects me in a negative way. It's not the end of the world. So there was compassion for myself, getting rid of a lot of the imaginary rules. Shouldn't eat this. Anyone you're following in the nutrition and exercise space that's giving you these rules like they're coming down from a higher power, you cannot train like this. You cannot eat this way. I would be very wary about those people, right? I'll give you an example. Noah Olson, who's a multi-games CrossFit athlete who I love, was watching a video of him they were doing handstand walks, but it was like handstand and you had to there was like a board pillows kind of. They had to put their head down and then go. And the comments are outstanding. I only go for the comments. This is so stupid. How does this cross over into real life? It's like, not everything has to be efficient. The efficiency longevity crowd has a lot of problems. They're not really living. I have a quote I say, if you're trying to live forever, you're not living at all. You're basically already dead. You're just creating constant suffering for yourself, thinking you're going to miss out on so many things in life. I'm a big believer in, someone that never can have a piece of pizza. And we're not talking about allergies, anaphylactic. Most people can handle gluten to a degree, even if they fart a little bit more, they have some diarrhea here and there. I'm going to have pizza in my life. I have psoriasis. I actually have an autoimmune condition, right? You guys have seen it. You've seen the way my nails look. I've had psoriasis for 17 years. I have a little bit more intolerance towards certain things, dairy and gluten. I still eat dairy and gluten every day of my life. Just not going to do it. I might be a little bit more gassy than the average person. It doesn't matter to me. I'm not going to live that way. You also are acting like you're going to live forever. So there's a lot of different pieces I covered in this, but that's basically how I broke it down. And then by doing that, I showed myself, by my actions, I can mess up and it's not the end of the world. So thank you again. Phil at OCDRecovery.com. Please come into one of our webinars. Please come into any of our one-to-one sessions. We work all over the world, as I always say. Thank you for supporting us through all this time and building the YouTube channel where it is. And as always, enjoy the rest of your day.